Hello again to all of our viewers, subscribers, and friends of the channel. Now bringing you episode number 136. Thanks for tuning in and for all your support. We couldn't do it without you. As we go from one end of Phoenix to the other in search of interesting vehicles to bring you guys, we found this one has an especially fun story. Today, we're featuring a beautiful 1986 Ford Bronco II that has resided in Bob Marr's garage for over 30 years now. Not just a pampered street-driven four-wheel drive, this sweet little Bronco II has seen more than its share of off-roading adventures, all the while receiving careful preservation and slowly transforming it into the truck you'll see today. So settle in and hear Bob give you all the details on his little Ford. Now, let's go for a ride.
Hi, I'm Bob Marrs from Scottsdale, Arizona, originally from Southern California, where I grew up as a car kid in the 60s and 70s car culture, but moved here in the 1990. 1992, I bought this Bronco II. I've had it 30 years now. I purchased it as a project car. I wanted to build kind of a mini monster truck to romp around in the Arizona desert with my little kids. And monster trucks were pretty new at that point. They were a little bit of a fad, so I wanted to do a little mini version. I'd done some off-roading in other cars, and I found the bigger ones and Arizona trails aren't that compatible. You want something with a narrow body and a short wheelbase to get around tool around through the desert. And this seemed to fit that bill. My kids grew up, needless to say, they grew up with this car. First riding around in my lap out in the desert, and then learning how to drive and learning how to use the stick shift in it. And my daughter, she's really a whiz at the stick shift. She now works for Carvana, and for a long time she taught all the new Arizona Carvana employees how to use the stick shift. She still likes getting in the car and tooling around once in a while. One of my favorite stories, though, is about the time we were taking the car out to do a hill climb contest. And this is a really steep hill, and I had my two kids and my good buddy Ron in the car, and we're going up the hill, crawling up, low gear. About halfway up, boom, the transfer case splits in half, all the fluid dumps out, and we're kind of stranded halfway up there on the hill, and I had to back down the hill. It's a big hill. The brakes are hardly holding these big 35-inch tires. I got 35-inch tires on it now, and finally get to the bottom, and like we're all sweating, and they're yelling at me on the way down. But I'm going like, okay, now how are we going to get home? So we think about it for a while, and I go into my MacGyver mode and decide I'm going to get some soda cans and cut them open and make some patches out of them and put them on with some silicone sealant and use a tie strap to ratchet it a little bit and close the case up, so we get these things kind of cut out and some silicone around the edge and along the crack, and put them on there and put the straps around there and pull the case back together a little bit, and then got some local fence baling wire and ran it around about 6 or 8 times and tied it off. And then I had a little bit of motor oil, and then found another trail person out there that had a quart, so we put like a quart and a half of motor oil in the transfer case. Normally it takes automatic transmission fluid, but I'm just going like, I don't know if this is going to work, so we kind of like take off trepidly and start out of the desert. We're out in the middle of the desert, and kind of get out of make it out of the desert, and I get out and I'm looking at the transfer case, and it's still holding together. I go, okay, let's go on the road. So we get on the road and do about 25, 30 miles an hour all the way from way the hell out there and back to Scottsdale here and make it home. I don't know how. Anyway, that was a crazy story. So many good stories with friends and my kids. And the Bronco's been literally on every single trail in Arizona. Off-road trail, back road, wash. I've covered every trail on there. And got plenty of pinstripes and road rash from all of that, which fortunately we were able to get out before we got it painted. So our other thing was we went up. We like to go up on the dark mountain tops when the stars are shooting, when there's a star shower, and we'll go up there and camp out. And it's pitch black up there, but take the Bronco up there and make a little campfire or have our Coleman stove and camp out for the night and watch the shooting stars up there. That's pretty fun. It had been a work truck for a painting contractor. Had a ton of miles on it. It just turned 100,000 or something. So I've got 157 on it now. Well, I got rid of that ugly front runner bumper that came with it. Add some more lift. Put on the bigger 35-inch tires. Had an 8.8-inch rear end built, so you could pull those tires and not break the rear end. I also added a 28-gallon gas tank instead of the original 15-gallon one. I found I was always kind of like running out of fuel or running really low and having to bring extra fuel along. So not having to put fuel cans in your car or figure out how to strap them on the back and have a really big gas tank is nice to have when you're going out in the Tules. Pulling those 35-inch tires also required a change of gearing and to 513 gears. So it's got 513 gears in it. That runs pretty good on the freeway. I can run 65 miles an hour, 3,200 RPM. So that part works good. And then it crawls really well in low gear with the big tires. So that's worked out pretty nice. I also had to upgrade that little 2.9 liter V6 engine. Originally, I think, is 170 horsepower. And I took it up to about 220. Did a 30 over bore cam, ported heads, special pistons to get high compression, ported intake and manifold. We did a fuel injection conversion with a mass airflow sensor from a 5-liter Mustang. So it had nice big fuel injectors in there, and then a new computer to run all that, all out of a donor Mustang, junkyard donor Mustang. I've also been trying to restore it back to much of the original look. Started taking some of the old off-road parts off and put a new grill on. Still could buy one from Ford then, and a new original grill, new original bumper, and some of the trim pieces and that type of thing. They're getting pretty hard to find though these days. The good parts are hard to find, especially the interior parts. Those are pretty rare, but I've collected them over the years, and as I find some, I'll pick them up and stash them away. So over the past few years though, the paint has really showed its age. So I decided I haven't been doing that much off-roading with my kids grown, but so I decided it's ready for a paint job, and finally found a painter I really liked here in the area down in Tempe, James Evans. He did a terrific job. We kept the original Ford baby blue paint and did a light pearl blue over the top of that with a bunch of clear in it. I just think the custom car guy in me had to go nice paint with it, although I was trying to keep it stock. It was really torn. I went back and forth. If I do it, I not do it. And last minute I said, James, let's do it. Let's do the pearl. And he painted out some samples for me. And that's what we did. I think it came out really nice and looks quite spectacular in the sun. Well, I'd like to finish up the interior restoration. It's got a fair amount of wear. Front seats need to be redone. Back seats are pretty good, and the dash needs some components. The headliner and visors, it was totally worn out, so we redid that when we were painting the car, so it's all new now. My favorite thing about this car is really all the memories with my kids and my wife and my friends, and all the places we've gone, all the things we've done, all the crazy stunts, running through the washes when it's rained hard and you're not supposed to be in there, and the water's like, this car's lifted pretty high, so it's 3 feet of water. You're not quite in the door yet, but you're not sure when you're going down a little riverbed. So those things are all really fun. And last comment is, I really think what you guys are doing with If This Car Could Talk is really great, and these cars deserve a little bit of a memory. Thank you. I do really appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob, for taking the time to share your wonderful Bronco II and tell its story to our worldwide viewership. We know people everywhere will love the truck and the tale of its transformation we see today. These Bronco IIs, made from 1984 through 1990, are gaining in popularity. Join us next Sunday when we bring you a completely home-built hot rod pickup truck that was put together by a lifelong enthusiast using only junkyard parts and good old American ingenuity to take the owner anywhere he wants to go, many times as his daily driver. You don't want to miss it. If you subscribe to our channel, you'll never miss a single video. It's easy and it's free. Until next week, remember, please be careful out there.